Hey, Travis kiddos. Happy Monday. Let's do some math. Today, I am giving you a little bit of catch up time and a little bit of extra practice time because the next two chapters, we want you to take your time to really learn and understand. We don't want to rush them. So we're going to stretch some of this out. So if you did not finish any of the work from last week, you have a little bit of time to catch up today. If you did not yet do the cumulative review from chapters 14 and 15 in the math workbook, pages 135 to 140, you can go ahead and finish those. So that's reviewing mental math and calendar and time. So if you haven't finished those, you have time to do that today and this week whenever you need, but that's good practice. We are going to start now today and for the next couple of weeks. We're going to work on chapter 16, which is numbers to 120. So when we're working with numbers up to 120, we're really working on that place value to understand the number order, comparing numbers, so we really, strongly understand we have good number sense around those numbers so that when we start adding and subtracting with that big of numbers, which is the next chapter, addition and subtraction to 100, when we get to that, you have a good strong sense of the numbers and how to break them apart and put them together. It'll really help, so we're taking our time to build up. Anyway, so your jobs today, not only catching up from last week if you need to, but also just a lot of counting and a lot of number sense, like I said, with these numbers. So you are going to count by ones, by fives, and by tens. So I'm going to work backwards today, and let's start with tens. So we go 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 110, 120. I hope you did that with me. You have a chance to do by fives now. So let's count by fives. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 75, 80, 85, 90, 95, 100, 105, 110, 115, 120. It's good to get the practice with those patterns so you understand how to go up by fives and tens. If you want to introduce some movement into those, I usually have a jump with your 10. So jump up, and then when we do our fives, you go up on your toes, little calf raises. And when we count by ones, we usually march and step each number. Now, I wanted to save ones for last because I'm not going to start at 1 and count all the way to 120 with you. You should. That is good practice, but I'm going to give us a different number. I'm going to give us the number of the day. So today's number of the day is 62. So I'm going to come back to that number in a second, but let's count from 62 up to 120. It takes a while. I understand counting takes a long time, but the more you practice, the easier it gets. The tricky spots here you're going to find are when you get to the 9, getting to the next group of tens, which is another reason why we practice counting by tens to get that pattern. So let's start at 62. 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110, 111, 112, 113, 114, 115, 116, 117, 118, 119, 120. So 109 is a big sticking point for kids. That's a tough one to get past. So practicing counting by tens is a really good way to help. Counting on from different numbers, like I chose a random number, 62, is good because then you have to know the pattern really well. Once you get into it, it makes it a little bit easier. But starting at different numbers really gets that brain working too. So practice that, and then also practice counting from 1. If you want a challenge, go ahead and practice counting by 2s. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Keep going as high as you can. That's another really good way to practice. So let's come back to the number of the day here. So you know, number of the day, you're going to show as many ways as you can to show this number. Now, I'm not going to show you all of the ways that I can think of today, but I do want to show a few so that we focus on the place value. So 62 is, I'm going to make a chart here. O for 10, sorry, I got this backwards. T for tens and O for ones. Makes a little more sense. So we have 6 tens and 2 ones. Okay, so 6 tens, 2 ones is 62. I'm going to break it up. 60 and 2 makes 62. Or I could say 60 plus 2. This is called expanded form. So you're expanding out the tens and the ones, separating out those parts, right? We're really focusing on that place value. So 60 and 2 make, I'll squeeze it in there, make 62. And then 60 plus 2 equals 62. Same idea, just showing it slightly different format. Okay, 6 tens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 2 ones. So 62. If you want to get really tricky, you can focus on your tens and ones here. But instead of 6 tens, you could do 5 tens. If you have 5 tens, I'm going to trade a 10 for 10 ones. So instead of 2 ones, I have 12 ones. You could keep going with that if you want. So instead of 6 or 5 tens, I could do 4 tens. Now I'd have to transfer 20 ones over. So you could get really creative with this, okay, to focus on the tens and ones here and really work on that place value. You can also do money. You can do 6 dimes and 2 pennies. Okay, 6 dimes, 2 pennies. You could split it up into a number bond. You can also draw 62 dots or 62 tallies, right? There's not a limit to this, and I'm not saying you cannot do other ways, but I wanted to show you a couple of ways focusing on place value with that number. So you go ahead, add more to the number of the day, and when you're reading in the textbook, your work today is in the textbook, which is online through Think Central. So the textbook, pages 178 to 171, is really going to focus on that counting. It's really going to focus on place value. It's also going to work on place value to compare numbers. So let's review a little bit of greater than, less than, or equal to. Okay, so greater than, less than, equal to. So I'm going to put some numbers here. So we have, I'm going to start with our number of the day, 62, and I'm going to put 35. So here, 62 and 35, I can compare their tens to start with. And let's see, 6 tens, 3 tens. I already know this one's going to be bigger because it has more tens. Even though this one has more ones than this one, 5 is more than 2, the tens are bigger on here. And since we know, we can start with the tens to compare, though the number's always going to be bigger if the tens are bigger than the ones. If you're comparing 2-digit numbers. We'll get into 3-digit numbers a little later. So 62 is greater than 35. Let's try another one. You know, I really like these because they're really hard to see. So here we have 79 and 97. When we see those numbers next to each other, sometimes we flip-flop them. But we have 79, 97. 7 tens, 9 ones. 9 tens, 7 ones. So we know this one has more tens. That is the greater number. So 79 is less than 97. Okay, so let's try this one. 54, 56. We have the same number of tens here. So now I need to go to the ones and check. 4 ones, 6 ones. Which one's bigger? This one. So we're going to make that alligator mouth chomping over to the 56. 54 is less than 56. Okay, so use those tens and ones to help you compare the numbers. With our 2-digit numbers, we're going to start comparing with the tens first. And then if the tens are the same, we go to the ones. But if you can compare straight from the tens, you're done. So that is some work for you guys to continue in the textbook. Again, that's textbook through Launchpad on Think Central. I hope I didn't say ConnectEd before. Think Central. You go to the student edition, grade 1. So student edition, you go through your resources to student edition, and then, my library, not resources, my library is student edition. Then you're going to go to volume 2, and you're going to start on chapter 16, so pages 178 to 181. There's a picture. You can count the objects on the picture. It's a nice little outside picture. And then read through all of the information there. And when you see the little green boxes, you won't be able to type or write in, but you can write it down, or you can talk with your adult about what numbers would go in those spots. So have fun with that, and happy learning.